Ogg had been watching and listening as Lieutenant Carter interrogated the heretic priest. He tried to pay attention, but the bad man just went on and on. Ogg had heard bad men say stuff like this before. The Emperor was mean, the bad boss was actually nice, which was silly because Ogg could see that the bad men were doing bad things all around him all the time. But he understood that the Tin King, that's this planet's bad boss, was deep underground. Ogg wondered why the bad men were always either really deep underground or they were really high up in the towers. Maybe they thought the Emperor couldn't reach them there. But Ogg knew that the arms of the Emperor could reach anywhere. When the bad man finally stopped talking, Ogg perked up. "Can I squish him now?" No. I think we keep this one alive. We turn him over to the Arbites, if we can fight our way out of here, and they might be able to get more information out of him." "Oh, I don't get to smash anything." Go ahead and smash his augmetics. He doesn't need his limbs to talk.
Wait! No! Let me turn off my pain receptors! I can't! Ah!
Ogg gleefully smashed each of the mechanical appendages of the cowardly cultist who not only turned his back on the Emperor, but also turned his back on the big bad boss that he served just to stay alive a little bit longer. The cultist was then unceremoniously strapped onto Ogg's back as they resumed clearing the stragglers on each level of the hospital. For Jala and the White Scars, each level was like the one before. They struck like a four-man avalanche, their jet bikes roaring down the empty maglift shafts, annihilating everything that stood before them, tearing through the hospital halls before withdrawing as quickly as they struck to head to the next level. Floor after floor, the mighty jet bikes of the White Scars carried them to victory after bloody victory. There was no chance for any kind of coherency in the enemy. No one lived long enough to communicate exactly what was happening. Panic swept through the traders as they began to rush for the exits, unsure of what monstrous thing had been unleashed above their heads. Many were trampled as they tried to flee. Ogg, the other Ogryns, and the rest of their motley crew did their best to keep up, jogging in the wake of the death dealt by the Emperor's angels. On each floor they found fewer and fewer survivors, probably because the rebels had started to flee. Ogg could see that many of the hospital staff did not survive. It seemed that the traitors started killing doctors and nurses rather than surrender a functioning medical facility into the hands of the Imperium. These were really, really bad men. After what seemed like ages, the stairs finally stopped. Ogg had reached the first floor. His boots were slick with blood. He was breathing heavily as he wiped the sweat from his brow. His nice clothes he had worn for his R&R were in tatters. On the first floor, Ogg saw nothing of the White Scars. Were they gone again already? Just like back at the food place? The veteran Ogryn could hear weapons fire coming from the direction of the main hospital entrance. The other guardsmen and PDF soldiers quickly swept the room for stragglers and then ran out of the building to join whatever fighting was happening outside. Ogg was exhausted, but he knew the Emperor needed him to fight some more. He hoped he could keep doing a good job. As Ogg emerged, he saw that the skies above Polis were turning a vibrant turquoise. At first, Ogg was confused. What had happened to the night sky? But then he realized the sun must be rising soon. He had been running and fighting and going up and down stairs all night. Out in the road in front of the hospital, a shootout had begun. What was left of the rebels had spilled out into the streets, and they began taking cover behind makeshift barricades and rubble. But they were very much trapped. The Arbites and PDF forces they had driven away earlier in the night had now returned with fresh reinforcements. Jala and his men had dismounted and were slowly advancing on the enemy positions. Flying into the middle of everything on their jet bikes would have exposed them to far too much fire, given the way the enemies had arranged themselves. Ogg, let's finish this.
Ogryns, line up!
The Ogryns snapped to attention and formed their lines, interlocking the Arbites' riot shields as they advanced. Everyone else followed behind the massive, powerful abhumans. Everything was going well, until a grenade bounced off of Ogg's shield. Fortunately for him, it bounced away and landed in a large pothole. When it exploded, Ogg was very lucky, as the hole forced the shrapnel to spray upwards rather than outwards. Then, Ogg didn't have to give any orders. After the explosion, the Ogryns fell upon the rebels with merciless power and fury. Once the barricades were breached, it was only a matter of moments before the remaining rebels had either been captured or had their skulls crushed under the forceful blows of the Ogryn. The Arbites and PDF forces reunited with the wounded as they slowly began establishing a new perimeter just as the sun was beginning to rise in the sky. Ogg couldn't see it through the high spires yet, but dawn had certainly come to Polis. Lieutenant Carter approached Jala.
My lord? I suppose you're the one I'm reporting to until we get into contact with High Command. And I think we captured someone of interest.
Ogg turned around to reveal the rebel tech priest strapped to his back.
Yeah, he says he knows stuff.
The Space Marine nodded.
You look exhausted. It has been a long night. Leave the heretic with us, and catch whatever sleep you can. You and I, my mechanical friend, are going to have a little chat.
No man do they call me, my mother and my father, and all my comrades as well. Thank you all for listening to the latest episode of Ogg the Ogryn Returns. If you enjoyed what you heard, please leave a like and a comment so that one day you too can take revenge on heretics that ruined your night out. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so in order to hear more stories about Ogryns trying to keep pace with White Scars. If you would like to support me, my PayPal, my Patreon, and my merch store are in the description. And if you have absolutely no idea what's going on, you can click on the Ogg the Ogryn Returns playlist, which should be appearing on screen right now. Thank you all once again for listening. No Man out.